Hey, welcome. If you've ever felt like you're drowning in coursework or you've struggled to make all that knowledge you have actually shine in an exam, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to turn those academic challenges into a super clear path for success.
Does this sound familiar? I bet it does. It's got to be one of the most frustrating feelings for any student. You know you put in the hours, you get the material, but when it's showtime, something just gets lost in translation. Don't worry, that ends today. Okay, so let's get right into it. We are going to build, step by step, a blueprint together. Think of it as a plan that covers everything from just preparing for class all the way to acing that final paper. This is your personal toolkit for becoming a way more effective learner.
First things first, real success, it doesn't just happen on exam day. Nope, it starts with how you set up your entire system. And this is about so much more than willpower. It's about smart planning. From figuring out your peak study times to creating an environment that actually lets you focus.
Seriously, think of it like building a house. You wouldn't try to put up the walls before you've poured the foundation, right? Well, prerequisites are that foundation. Choosing a course without them means you're basically playing catch-up from day one, which is just incredibly stressful. It's honestly the single easiest way to set yourself up for failure or for success.
Now, what's really important here is the move from just attending class to being truly present. Sure, showing up is often mandatory. At some universities, like AUCA, if you miss a quarter of the classes, you're out. Simple as that. But the real deep learning, that happens when you go beyond just being a body in a chair.
So what does it actually mean to be present? Well, you can break it down into 3 pillars. First, there's the physical. That just means you're comfortable, not distracted. Then emotional. That's acknowledging you had a rough morning, but consciously setting that feeling aside for the next hour. And finally, mental. And this one's the big one. It's about silencing that inner voice that's running through your to-do list so you can actually hear what the professor's saying. It's all about creating a quiet space in your mind, totally ready for learning.
Okay, so you're in class, you're fully present, awesome. The next challenge is capturing what actually matters from the lecture, without trying to write down every single word. We've all been there. The professor is talking a mile a minute, and you're just trying to keep up. Abbreviations are your best friend here, but you gotta have some ground rules. Only use ones you already know. Keep a little list of your personal shorthand so you don't forget what they mean. And please, don't get so carried away that your notes turn into some unreadable secret code.
All right, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you separate the interesting little details from the absolute must-know concepts? The good news is your professor is dropping clues the entire time. You just have to know what to look for.
You have to listen really closely. When an instructor says something like, "Now this is important," or "the main takeaway here is," that's not just them talking. That is a direct command. It's basically a verbal highlighter telling you to write that concept down.
Here's a simple but incredibly powerful rule. I really wish I'd learned this sooner. If a professor takes the time to stop what they're saying, turn around and write something on the board, that is a giant flashing neon sign that says, "This matters." That is a non-negotiable item for your notes. And finally, listen for repetition. If a professor defines a term or explains a concept more than once, maybe they even slow down to make sure everyone gets it, you can be almost 100% certain that concept is going to show up on the exam. Repetition is the ultimate clue.
Great, so you have a notebook full of high-quality, super relevant notes. But the work isn't done, not even close. Now comes the most critical part, turning those raw notes into durable knowledge that you can actually remember when you're under pressure.
Just take a look at this number for a second. 50%. Any idea what it represents?
Yep, within just half an hour of leaving class, you have already forgotten half of the material you just learned. This is called the forgetting curve, and it is absolutely ruthless. But the good news is you can fight it with a simple 3-step review system.
So here's the absolute key. Your first review has to be the same day. That's what moves information from your fragile short-term memory into your more stable long-term memory. Then you hit it again within 7 days to really lock it in. The final review happens right before the exam to make sure it's fresh and easy to access. Same day, 1 week before the test. That's the rhythm.
Now, as you're doing these reviews, 2 skills are absolutely essential. Think of it this way. A summary is like the movie trailer. It gives you the main points of the whole story. A paraphrase, on the other hand, is like describing one crucial scene in detail, but using your own words. Mastering both of these is the key to really deep understanding.
And this brings us right back to our blueprint. Outlining your notes organizes all that information logically, but it's also the launchpad for even more powerful memory tools. You can use your outline to create flashcards for key terms, turn lists into mnemonic devices like an acronym, or even create concept maps to visually connect ideas. The goal here is what's called overlearning, practicing recall until you literally can't get it wrong.
Okay, you've learned the material, you've made it stick. Now for the final step, proving what you know through your academic writing.
And you know where good writing starts? It's not with a blank page. It starts right back at the beginning. Your instructors build their lectures on the assumption that you've already done the reading. This is part of that whole scheduling thing we talked about. You have to block out time before class, so you're not just watching, you're an active participant ready to build on the ideas.
Now let's clear up a super common point of confusion that can cost you easy marks. Style and format. They are not the same thing. Style, like APA or Turabian, is about the universal rules for things like citations and grammar. Format, on the other hand, is about the local rules, the margins, the title page, the font, that are required by your specific professor or department.
And this isn't just some abstract idea. This table shows you a real-world example from AUCIA. You can see that the Faculty of Theology uses the Turabian style guide, while business, education, and information management all use APA. The point is, you have to know which one your department requires. Never, ever guess.
And there it is. From scheduling your peak study time all the way to mastering citation styles, that is your blueprint for academic success. You have the tools, you've got the plan. Now the next step is to actually put it into practice. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Looking at everything we just covered, from the 3-step review system to finding your peak study time, what is the single first change you will commit to making? Really think about it and then go do it.